Hello, this story is part of a series titled The Seattle Jijinas. After moving from Iran to the US, like many of us, Mom had a dream. She wanted to learn to drive. It took a while, and many arguments later, before Dad finally got around to it. Part of his hesitation had to do with time. The Jijina family business was pretty much 24/7. And when he did finally get around to it, well, let's just say there was a rope attached to it. Welcome to Storytime with Kumars. My name is Kayo Jijina, and this is my story titled Mama Jijina Learns to Drive. I hope you enjoy it. Dad pulled the car around as Mom got ready. It had been an engineering marvel of monumental proportions, a stroke of pure genius. Somehow, Dad figured out how to rig the brakes so he could stop the car from the passenger side seat. Days of thinking, fretting, planning had gone into the preparation for this one single moment.
Learning to drive a car is a serious thing, and no joking matter,
said Dad, as he first began to lay out the pros and cons of his plan with me.
Imagine what we would do if Mommy ran into something, or heaven forbid, hurt somebody.
As Dad continued his diatribe, the mind began to formulate images like a picture story. I imagined a family loaded into the wagon, and Mom at the wheel, Dad rode shotgun, brother, sister, and I in the back seat, buckled up. Suddenly, the car jumped the curb, made a beeline and smashed through a picture window of a Rambler home. No one was in the living room. With the pedal to the metal, the car made its way up the staircase, leading to the second floor. It climbed the 2 flights as if it were a 4x4. It smashed through the bedroom wall. Bam! The poor sod never knew what hit him. Dad was right. Someone could get hurt.
They could sue us, or our insurance could go through the roof. Son, please come here and help me.
Help meant standing around waiting for Dad to make up his mind about something, followed by a rhetorical question he did not want answered. Eventually, all roads led to holding the flashlight or fetching a tool.
What a nuisance this is. We are not equipped to handle something like this. Most instruction cars have a passenger side and driver's side steering wheel and brakes. Our car has none of this. In the middle of all these headaches,
Dad was referring to construction and rental projects.
In the middle of all these headaches, now we have to think about how to teach your mommy to drive. What do you think?
I could see we had arrived at the first rhetorical question. It had become a challenge for me to respond regardless. Dad, why don't you make it easy on yourself and send her to a driving school? That way, you don't have to add one more thing to your so-called list of headaches. If Mom had a certificate from a driving school, it might even help on the insurance rates. Somehow, I don't think the Daddy School of Driving would count.
Oh, son, what do you think? We are made out of money. We will have to figure this thing out ourselves. The most important thing is to stop the car. When Mom goes too fast, or she will hit something.
Dad thought for a few minutes, paced back and forth, opened the door to the station wagon, crouched down, examined the area around the brake pedal as I stood and watched.
I think I figured out a way to stop the car. But first I will need to find some parts. Thank you. Thank you very much for your help. You can go inside now.
I felt accomplished. My mere presence helped solve a mystery and save thousands of lives at the same time. A few days later, Dad asked me to put on my dirty clothes and come help him. I experienced a Kayo moment. What? Put on my dirty clothes to come hold a flashlight? I asked with a hint of sarcasm. I wanted to wear a 3-piece suit.
Stop being stupid. You're going to crawl around in the car and hold a nut.
Crawl and hold a nut? I cried in disbelief. Oh, thank heaven for 7-Eleven. I have been promoted from head chef and flashlight holder to nut holder. Just wait. Wait, I repeated for effect. This is late-breaking news. Hurry! Kayo Jijina is now a nutcase. Dad left as I slipped into my dirty clothes and met him outside. It was time to execute the master plan.
Finding the right part is always a nuisance. I wanted one of those eye bolts to mount through the floorboard behind the brake. I didn't want it to be too long or the brake pedal would hit it. You think in all this junk we would find the right size? I found two, but I had to cut them down.
Dad had overcome the challenge and it was time to get to work.
You get down there.
Dad pointed to the driver's side compartment below the brake pedal. With my length, it would be best to come from the passenger side.
And push the eye bolt through the hole I drilled until it hits the top nut. Then, with this open-ended spanner, try and hold the nut in place. I will go underneath the car with a second nut and washer and tighten it. I may have to use a breaker bar to make it nice and tight, so make sure you hold it and don't let it slip.
I had seen tire mechanics use breaker bars before. It allowed them to apply a large amount of force with minimum effort. I did need to make sure I held the spanner nice and tight. We tightened the eye bolt on the driver's side and then a second one on the passenger side. Much to my surprise, it all went well.
So you see, son? I will tie a 6-foot-long piece of rope to the brake pedal, then pass it through the eye bolts, behind the brake pedal and then through the eye bolt on the passenger side. Whenever Mommy gets carried away, I can stop her.
Dad was satisfied as he completed feeding the rope through the second eye bolt. After we were done, it was time for the grand test. Dad had me get into the driver's side of the car. As if I were Mom, he entered the passenger side, and off we went. The brake was a little jerky, as pulling on a rope was not quite the same thing as using a foot. Finally, the big day arrived. Mom got dressed up and might have added a touch of perfume before walking out the door. "See you, boys." Dad was waiting in the car. I settled into my favorite TV watching spot on the couch and zoned out. "Want to bet something goes wrong?" I asked Brother. "No, that's a sucker's bet." About 15 minutes later, the door burst open and Mom came charging in. She was full of rant with arms flailing. Dad followed a few seconds later. "That's it! I had it! That's it! I'm not doing this anymore! How do you expect me to ever learn to drive if you keep pulling that stupid rope of yours? I hardly go 1 foot and you slam on the brakes, over and over again. I'm not going to do this anymore. How ridiculous is it that people are watching me come down the road and the car keeps jerking back and forth because someone keeps slamming on the brakes? They think I'm driving like this." Dad tried to get a word in edgewise, but Mom was not having any of it.
"Sweetheart, we have to start slowly."
"That's it! I'm having no more of this!" A couple of months later, it was Mom's birthday. Dad bought her a course to the Sears Easy School of Driving.